So, dear respected Thai, dear brothers and sisters, and dear friends and Sangha, how wonderful it is that we're together again on this Thursday afternoon, the 18th of July, the year 2019. We are in the Upper Hamlet, the Stillwater Meditation Hall. I've been reflecting on the teachings we've received during this week and the first week. And this is the last Dharma talk of the second week. And I found them so interesting, and I hope you won't mind if I share a little bit about the teachings we've received as a way of watering our memory, perhaps, or our appreciation of what the brothers and sisters have shared. We know we've had wonderful question and answer sessions each week, and a lot of teachings were given in response to your very specific questions. As well as we've had some teachings on the importance of being aware of our body, the tension in our body, or if we have any discomfort, because it's very easy for our body to hold the tension if we come from sort of high-octane lifestyles. That means a stressful lifestyle. Then chances are we will have stress and muscle tension. So we've learned how to stop, be aware of our body, and the stopping is just stopping the activity for a moment, coming back to ourself and to breathe in and out, to relax our body. And this is really survival practice, in a way, survival. We don't want to say that in any sense of the word to create fear, but it's everyday living, survival, to take good care of my body, to love my body. In fact, we have a long-term relationship with our body, don't we? It started when we came into the world with our first breath. It started. And this long-term relationship with the body will end with our last out-breath. But it's nice knowing we can have a long-term relationship, isn't it? It's not so easy. But each of us can say, I can have a long-term relationship. I know how to take care of my body. And the body is connected to the mind. So we also have a long-term relationship with our mind as well. And we know that the mind changes. So we're witnessing and supporting and nourishing a long-term relationship with our mind, which keeps changing. So changes in the state of our mind. The basic practice of mindful breathing is what stabilizes our relationship with our body and our mind, to create more relaxation, more peace, more calmness, and to give us a feeling of well-being. So the 4 basic breathing exercises that we learned the past 2 weeks from the Anapanasati Sutra are aware of my body. With the in-breath and out-breath, I'm aware. And then I'm going to pay more attention to my in-breath and out-breath. I will follow my in-breath during its whole length. Then I will follow my out-breath during its whole length. Or I will accompany my in-breath for however long it wants to be. Or I will accompany my out-breath for ever how long the out-breath wants to be, without controlling it. And then the 3rd breathing exercise was simply scan the body. Breathing in, I'm aware of my body. Do I have any tension anywhere? My shoulders, my back, my neck. Breathing in, I'm aware of my body. Now breathing out, I'm just going to relax, let go of the tension. So we have been doing these gentle ways of practicing breathing and taking care of our body. And we know when we are breathing in and out and aware of our body, that we're bringing our mind home to the body. The mind becomes aware of breathing in and out. Because in truth, the mind likes to travel. The mind can go to any country, anywhere on this planet with no ticket. Just think of the place you want to go, the mind is there. So when we breathe in and out and the mind is aware of the breath, the mind comes back to the body. We can feel the lungs expand, contract. We feel our nose receiving the air in and out. The mind likes to travel particularly to the past. But with mindful breathing and our energy of mindfulness, we become aware. Oh, I'm in the past again. Or our mind becomes aware of jumping ahead to the future, wondering, will the future be like how I want it to be? So we can worry and have anxiety about the future. These are 2 places in time that the mind likes to go to. But the best place in time for the mind is just to live in the present moment. And we know that. Perhaps we've experienced that we have more peace and happiness and joy. We feel more connected and harmonious when the mind and body are together. We can say they're a good couple. They have a harmonious relationship. So mindful breathing is a wonderful practice that we've done together this week. We've done it together. And it's been natural. It's maybe new, and now I believe it's more natural for us to breathe in and out and be aware of that. The second practices we learned about were the little poems, the gathas. And these are poems Thai has written to help us be aware of what we're doing, our actions. And Brother Faplai gave us many wonderful examples. And these poems we can say to ourselves during everyday living. For example, the one was awareness of washing our hands. Water flows over these hands. May I use them skillfully to protect Mother Earth. So we have awareness of the water. Where does it come from? From high in the mountains or deep in the earth? But it's a reminder, I want to use my hands in a skillful way to protect Mother Earth. And we're using our hands now to recycle, to reuse containers, also in a sense to reduce our consumption. So we find these gathas are very helpful to help our mind stay with what we're doing, to concentrate. And when our energy of mindfulness is there, which is I'm aware of something, that's mindfulness energy, aware of an object. When mindfulness is there, I'm aware of my hands and the water and washing. There's concentration. Concentrating in a very easy way. So when I'm concentrating my mind on something, my breathing, or washing my hands, or my dishes, the two together will give us understanding and insight very easily. Mindfulness and concentration, that means the mind is really staying with what I'm doing. Voila. Mindfulness and concentration give insight. That's a formula, so to speak, that practitioners we know, we've experienced it. You may have experienced understanding something suddenly while walking. An answer just pops up, or an idea or an intuition may happen out of the blue, but you know it happens because there's been some preparation. You've been mindful and concentrating on something. We know that musicians develop this capacity in themselves to a very high degree. When they play their instrument, whatever it is, they are mindful, they're concentrating, and the insight is a beautiful interpretation of the music. So these aspects of our practice as practitioners can be applied to anything, any activity that you like to do. After the gathas, we learned about the 4 nutriments that the Buddha taught. Edible food, what I eat and drink, what I consume with my mouth. Sensory impressions, what I consume with my eyes, my ears, my nose, my tongue. The sense of touch on my body and my thinking. So we know that what we consume can bring happiness or suffering. It depends on what we're consuming. We have the awareness now to look into what we're eating. And we could ask ourselves, if what I'm about to eat, does it contain a lot of suffering? And this week we've all experienced eating food that is plant-based. So we know no animal has suffered being killed to feed us. So we've tasted the delicious food. And we know it's everyone's choice to decide how to eat. It's really everyone's choice with that matter, based on your needs or whatever, your health or other factors. But we know we want to reduce the suffering as much as possible. So what we eat or drink, we just bring awareness to it. Okay, that's the basic practice. Sensory impressions, we know that what we listen to or see can bring happiness. The beauty of the lotus. We see the beautiful lotuses. We hear the birds singing. All that sensory, feeding our senses with beauty, so we can have more happiness and peace. And then there's the volition and consciousness as a food. And these two aspects are also part of our mind. We know if we have a volition that will bring happiness to others and to myself, it's a good volition. So a volition is simply my deepest aspiration, my motivation. What do I want to do? How do I want to live my life? A volition to do that. If it's a volition that will bring happiness, then we could say it's a good volition, because it will result in happiness. If it's a volition that will lead to suffering at some point, or I will do this work at no matter what it costs, to my family, to my health, or to the environment, then we want to think a little bit more about this volition I have. We could say it's your work, but it's not limited to work, okay? It's your whole life, how I want to use my time and my energy. Consciousness refers to not only our thoughts. We can feed our consciousness with loving thoughts, with love, with peace. But it also will mean that what influences our consciousness, the environment. And the consciousness refers to not only our mind, but to the deepest level of our mind, the store consciousness. So our environment, if it's an environment of joy and happiness, will help our consciousness be very light and happy. If we're in an environment where there's a lot of suffering and despair, that will influence our consciousness also. However, with our practice, we can still continue to be in such an environment, because we will know ways to balance it and water the seeds of happiness. So consciousness will speak a little bit more about that, but it's a food. Remember, what I think is feeding my consciousness. If I think thoughts of revenge or anger, I'm giving my mind food that isn't really good if I want to be happy. Okay, so the nature of our thinking influences our consciousness. Before I share the last topic of this week, let's give our body and mind a very beautiful moment of learning how to stop. And this is a practice we'll bring back. We're going to stop and pause and just breathe in and out as we hear one sound of the bell. So, dear friends, do you feel pleasant after breathing in and out? Giving your body a mini vacation? No one told you it's a vacation, but now you'll know. You can have a vacation anytime. Just stop and breathe in and out. On Tuesday, we learned the 4 magic mantras, the 4 magic formulas of love. And they are, we say these words of loving speech and kindness and compassion to others. So the first one is, I know you are there and I am happy. We say that when we're fully present. The second one is, I am here for you. It's very beautiful. The third one is, I know you suffer, that is why I am here for you. And the fourth one is, I suffer, please help. So these are the mantras of love, as Thai called them. And in fact, they contained loving kindness and compassion. And they express our mind of love. So we're going to continue this week, the last talk, continue with the theme of love. The domain is immense. It cannot be covered in one talk. So please come back next year and I'm sure we'll talk again. In fact, we've talked about it every summer. And the basis of these teachings on love come from the Buddha, who taught the 4 immeasurable minds, the mind of love. They've also been known as the 4 Brahma Viharas. In the time of the Buddha, he taught these practices of love to people there because when they left their life, when they died, or they wanted to be reunited with Brahma. They believed that they had the Atman, a self that could be united with Brahma for the highest bliss and happiness. So the Buddha called these dwelling with Brahma. If you practice this, you can dwell with Brahma. For us, they're known as the 4 immeasurable minds. We can't really measure them. This love is immense. However, we'll do our best to describe this kind of love. Yes. Where do we go with our love? We have some questions. Am I going in a good direction with this relationship? How can I know? We have many kinds of relationships. We're parents, we may be children, we may have your boyfriend, your girlfriend, partner, you have your parents, so many kinds of love. But we want to know, is this love going in a good direction? You know, if we drive a car, we have the GPS, right? That's the navigator, you know, it's this box in the new cars, you have it, or you portable one, you put it on the windshield and you tap in your destination, and then the GPS will take you to your destination. And it's very nice to have the GPS. If we make a mistake, do you know, it will say, turn around. At the next stop, turn right. Or as soon as you can, turn left. But the voice is calm. There's no anger. And it's nice. It's nice to make a mistake and no one shouts. No one gets angry. And the machine just recalculates. What's so nice? We hope the machine is accurate, right? Sometimes they take you to funny places, and you didn't know that before you started your journey. But when the machine tells you you have arrived at your destination and you're in a parking lot, you know she made a mistake, or the machine made a mistake. But anyway, so our life is not quite so simple. Our relationships are not so simple as having a GPS. But our mindfulness energy is a little bit like GPS. Our mindfulness lets us know what we're doing, and I would like to propose that the 5 mindfulness trainings are like a GPS. Okay, they're letting us know where suffering is, where suffering caused by this, but they're also 5 mindfulness trainings helping us go on a good path, so we can have a destination of happiness, peace, and joy. So the 5 trainings are a little bit like GPS, if we follow them, yeah. We have to tune in and read them. Otherwise, yeah, we don't benefit as much. So now we'll continue with the theme of love. I want to mention that many of you may have a Christian background or Jewish background or Muslim. You know, the great spiritual traditions teach love. And it's certainly in the teachings of Jesus. And the word for love was translated in the New Testament as agape, which is love. It's a spiritual, universal love. And Jesus would say something like, love your neighbor as yourself. So an interbeing. If you love yourself, please love the other person as well. And then at one time he said to his disciples, they will know you are my disciples by the way you love one another. So that was very beautiful also, the interbeing of his community, to love one another as disciples. People will know you are my disciples by the way you love one another. About 500 years before Jesus' teachings, the Buddha taught. And he taught that love has 4 aspects. The first aspect is loving kindness. The second is compassion. The third is joy. And the fourth is equanimity. There are Sanskrit words for these four kinds of love. Loving kindness is metta or maitri. Compassion is karuna. Joy is mudita. And equanimity is upeksha. Now we may want to ask ourselves, okay, so where is love in me? Where can I find love in me? Or how can I practice love? Or how can I practice at least to not make others suffer? These some interesting questions. Where is love in me? So you've probably seen this before. I'm going to draw a diagram. I'm going to draw a model of the mind, because perhaps we can think that love is in the mind somewhere. But where? Where in the mind is love? But maybe love is not limited to the mind. I don't know enough about love, but I'll simply share what I've learned from Thai and my practice. So I'll draw some models of the mind, and I will share that love is a seed in the depths of our consciousness. A seed. It's a potential. Everyone has received these seeds. They have been transmitted from our ancestors, even if in our childhood we had adverse childhood experiences that did not water the seed of love. Maybe other seeds were watered. But in fact, I believe we all have the seeds of loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. It's a funny circle, but maybe it'll be okay for now. Now, the seeds are sleeping. Right now we have many seeds in our consciousness, and we don't know that they're there because they sleep. They like to sleep, so I'm going to draw some sleeping seeds, okay? This is the depth of our consciousness where all of the seeds are, where everything has been transmitted. The seeds and experiences that we've had, our ancestors, experiences through their lives, and as well as their talents and their suffering. You may recognize this if you were at the practice of touching the earth, being in touch with our ancestors. So I'm going to just name a lot of different kinds of seeds. H is happiness. This is mindfulness. We all have the seed of mindfulness. Everyone has it. But it hasn't been developed. We haven't learned how to let this energy grow and develop and be wonderful. Okay, but we all have this seed. What other seeds? We have the seed of loving kindness. We have the seed of compassion. We have the seed of joy. We have the seed of equanimity. I'm just abbreviating them. We have the seed of peace, understanding, etc. You can add many more seeds that you like. Okay, so we can recognize the four aspects of love: loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. They are there. We have the potential. Now, this side, what do you think? I'm going to put some other kind of seeds, but it's just for the purpose of the diagram. I don't think they are on opposite sides, like warring countries. I know that, not like that. I don't think so. But just for the sake, we're going to put seeds of an opposite nature. We have them also. We do. Our ancestors had them. So, we have the seed of anger, hatred, confusion, fear, doubt, jealousy, anxiety, etc. Okay, so seeds more or less of an opposite nature: sadness and despair and prejudice. Okay, seeds of an opposite nature. Now, actually they're in the consciousness. I drew them a little bit on the border, but actually they're in our consciousness. So all kinds of seeds. And they're just sleeping there. What do we have to do to wake them up? What do they need to wake up? Well, they need our eyes and our ears and our nose and our tongue and our body. They need the sense organs. They need the sensory stimulation. So, with my eyes, depending on what I see, what is the object, it may water a seed of happiness. Okay? If I see something beautiful, or a painting, Monet, he painted beautiful water lily series. Monet, the French Impressionist artist, or the Gioconda, the Mona Lisa smiling. Just two examples from art. If I see something beautiful, wow, I will appreciate it. It will water the seed of happiness. And what happens? This seed will manifest in my mind as an emotion, a mental formation that I can name. Or if I don't have the name, it will just be something like a pleasant feeling. Okay, do you understand? We need the sense organs in order to wake up the seeds. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Well, thinking. All right. Now, suppose someone gets angry at me and, is speaking unkindly, and I hear it. My ears hear it. The eyes we can close. We can close the eyes and not see anything. But the ears remain open. So we hear everything. We're constantly receiving sensory input in our waking hours, but also sleep. We hear things, but okay. So someone gets angry at me and, I hear something with my ears now. Maybe it'll water your seed of anger. Someone gets angry and that energy is transmitted and I get angry back. Or it may water the seed of fear. Wow, this person's really angry. I'm scared. I better get away. It can water other seeds. Despair, sadness, So one stimulus can water different seeds. Yeah. So what happens? The same thing happens. The seed is watered and it will manifest. So we say it manifests on the level of our consciousness as an emotion, a mental formation. Yeah. So what do we do then? Okay. We recognize, we embrace particularly the seeds of sadness, of suffering. Recognize, oh, this is unpleasant. I recognize, I accept what I've heard, I accept how I'm feeling, I embrace it. I don't judge or criticize that person or myself, but I take care of it. All right? So at this point, we're going to take care of our body and mind to reduce the intensity of the emotion. Okay? So these seeds on this side, if they're watered and get enough watering, enough stimulus over a long enough period of time, these seeds are watered strongly enough, they will manifest. That means I'll be aware of an unpleasant emotion. Or if you can name it, you can say, I feel fear or sadness, despair. So, we want this seed not to be there too long. So we'll help it go back to the depth of our consciousness. And we can do that by the practicing of mindfulness and then the basic practices of mindful walking and breathing to calm that feeling, take care of my body, and look deeply. So after calming your mind enough, the mind is calm with your practice of mindful walking, mindful breathing, or yoga. You can do Tai Chi, any kind of practice. When you feel the energy is not so intense, then you can ask why. What happened? And that's looking deeply. So we stop, we breathe, we calm, and then look deeply. However, we may not know right away, but the important thing is that we have taken care of our body and mind, okay, with the energy of mindfulness, which is recognizing something isn't right. Okay, so I hope that's clear, that we don't want to think too long about what is making us angry, sad, or scared. We recognize it, we acknowledge it, we embrace it, take care of it, but if we continue to think about it non-stop, it's going to make that seed get bigger. But we can't run away. We're not saying run away, but be with it and then know, okay, it doesn't have to be with me for 4 hours. All right? So we have the practices of walking or letting your mind focus on other things. Beautiful music, you watch Thai give a Dharma talk on YouTube, you replace that unpleasant moment with something more pleasant. So, let's have a pause, a vacation of breathing in and out. It's very nice. I'll sit down for my vacation. So we're talking about love. Okay. We can appreciate. We all have the capacity. So it's a matter of knowing how to water the seeds in ourselves and the other person, so the seeds of love will manifest as kindness, as compassion, as joy and equanimity. It's a matter of knowing what my actions and my speech and how my thinking will influence the relationships I have. So I'm going to take just a few moments to talk about watering, okay? And there are two kinds of watering. There's the direct watering, okay? When you say to someone, "How wonderful to see you. When you smile, I feel joy." So with our communication, we say something very directly to someone that makes them feel appreciated. We've learned about the practice of beginning anew. It's watering all their wonderful qualities. And you're letting them know that you see their good qualities. Okay, we're using language to let people know we love them, we appreciate them. It's watering their good seeds directly. Okay? I just shared how we water people suffering directly. This is watering happiness directly by what we say. But if we shout and get angry, we're watering their seeds of suffering directly. You understand? I'm saying there's direct watering by our being present, what we say, the email we send, or whatever. It's a direct contact. Now, there's another kind of watering that I'd like to share a little bit about. It's called indirect watering. And what is indirect watering? It's when we hear something or we see something that another person says to a party, like there's A, B, and C. Okay, maybe I'll show it that way. A, B, and C. So A will say, "Oh, wonderful things to be," and they're having a very loving and happy time together. Maybe they're at a party, and A and B are getting along just fine, but A is married to C. Okay, do you know that situation? All right. A and B are having a good time. A is married to C, and A ignores C. C gets no attention. But C, person C, observes everything. Sees her beloved or his beloved, sees their beloved with another person having a good time. And she or he is ignored. So, what do you think that will do? It's indirect. A is not doing anything to C, but is acting in a way that indirectly waters the seeds of suffering in C. If C has a vulnerability to feeling ignored, rejected, not loved, inferior, scared, lonely, or jealous, you see? But we all have these seeds. So the intensity of C's response to what is indirectly happening to him or her depends to some extent on their stored consciousness. Maybe they received a lot of seeds of jealousy from mother. So her seeds of jealousy will get watered so easily if her partner doesn't pay her attention, or she sees her partner having a good time with someone else. Okay? That's one example. Another example is for parents or teachers. And that is, if you're with your children, you have more than one child, and you praise one of the children, or you're a teacher, and you're saying, oh, this student is tops, I don't know what you say. This student is excellent. But the other children are there. Your other child is there. And you just continue to say the wonderful qualities of one child, and you don't give any attention to your other child. You water the flower of only one of your children, and the other children don't get anything from you. Or you're a teacher, and you're praising one student, and the other students, it seems as if you forget them, but you don't. But it's just the way you're talking or acting. So, indirectly, the seeds in the children that don't receive your attention and loving words, indirectly, that may water their suffering. Okay? One person is praised and the other one doesn't get the words. So it's just a possibility, okay? I'm not saying it's a law of nature, but it's just to bring up our awareness of how we're speaking, and will it create some suffering? Do we need more the practice of inclusiveness, equanimity, to include everyone? And so it's just a possibility of how suffering can be manifested by indirect watering unknown to the person who's speaking or acting. Because it's just out of awareness. We don't know really how our actions or our words are affecting others until later, when there's problems. So that's just what I want to share about watering, and it's called selective watering that Thai has taught. We choose to water the very best qualities in people as much as we can, based on as much as we know, and we refrain from watering their seeds of suffering as much as we can based on what we know. So it's good to learn a lot learn as much as you can about people and what makes them suffer, what their past is, their vulnerabilities, their fragility. It's just a way of being mindful about that. So I'm going to write on the board the 4 words. I can erase this, yeah. Impermanence, yeah, good. So these are the words in Sanskrit which you may come across. I mentioned these earlier. So, where is love? It's in the depth of my consciousness. How can I love? By watering the good seeds in myself and in other people. And how should I love? In what way shall I love? So loving kindness, Thai has taught us, is the wish and the capacity to bring happiness to people. How can we bring happiness? Maybe with small, simple ways. You can think of kind things to do, not only to people, animals, plants, and Mother Earth. Once a sister gave me a 4-leaf clover, and I was so happy. Just a little 4-leaf clover, so delicate and fragile. But you know what? To me, a 4-leaf clover means good luck. I learned that when I was a child. So it meant, I'm going to have good luck. We can think of very small things to do. So, it's our wish, but that also means our volition, a nutriment. I'm going to feed my consciousness with this wish, a volition, a determination that as much as possible I want to bring happiness to others. So, how can I do that? We learned the magic love sentence. I know you are there and I am very happy. I am here for you. We can say those words as a way of bringing happiness to others. There's another meditation that comes from Buddhaghosa, who wrote the Visuddhimagga, the path of purification, and he wrote a lot on these 4 kinds of love. And Thai wrote a meditation on love, and I've put them on the board there. So if you want to take a picture with your device, you will have this meditation, love meditation. So you can think as a way of offering happiness with your thoughts. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you live with lightness in your body and mind. May you live with freshness, solidity, and freedom. So you can think this thought every morning to someone whom you'd like to help with your kind thoughts. Help them be happier. You send this as a part of your morning practice or at night, anytime. May you be happy and peaceful. So a smile, a hug, a flower, holding the hand of someone, inviting someone to have tea with you, eat breakfast together. These are small ways. Okay. Compassion. This is the wish and the capacity to help remove the suffering in someone. So we can say the mantra, I am here for you. I know you are suffering. I am here for you. It's a way of helping people when they are experiencing a loss. There's a lot of sadness, and we want to help people who are very sad or grieving, who are displaced. We know there are now more than 68 million refugees in the world. It's a lot. So we want to have compassion on them and the situation in which they were in. And there's some organizations, the United Nations High Commission on Refugees, are doing their best to give these people food, shelter, clothing, medical care, and education. So we can think, how can I help relieve the suffering? Thai and Sister Chung Kung had great compassion during the time when there were a lot of boat people living in Vietnam. So they hired boats and they went out to sea and rescued the people, the Vietnamese people, in these very unsafe boats. So they put them on the bigger boats for their safety. And this was a great compassion. So it's the path of a bodhisattva, wanting to do actions, to offer your time and energy to people who really need it. But we can do it in our daily life. We can offer our condolences, our wishes if someone has lost a parent, a beloved one, a child. We can say, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that news." And other ways as well. We can do things for them. It's a real practice when there's been a loss of any kind, a divorce, a death, or just basic human suffering. So we're there for them. Just being there, sitting there, holding their hand is one way to express our compassion and our feeling with the person who is suffering. We can, if we're the one who's suffering, we can let others show their compassion for us by saying, "I suffer, please help." And that is the fourth of the love mantras. So, the love meditation, that sentence is, "May you be free from sadness, despair, anger, fear, and anxiety. And may you learn to look at yourself with eyes of understanding and love." So, we learn to look at the sources of the suffering, and we see, is there anything I can do to remove some of the causes? If we can't, then we can be there. Even though we can't remove the causes of illness sometimes, but we can be there with our loving kindness and compassion for the situation this person or the people are in. May you be free from your sources of suffering. And the sources can also be attachments, It doesn't have to be something like death or loss, but we can have an attachment to a person or a job, for example. There's an attachment if we have an addiction to a substance. May you be free from these kinds of attachments. So we send this wish. Or also may you be free from the attachment of an aversion. Because we can't let go of this aversion or dislike. We find it hard to overcome our hatred, our prejudice, our discrimination. May you be free from this aversion you have. And we can address this to people and countries. So you'll be able to live with more happiness, freedom, joy, and peace. And every week we chanted to Avalokita. And that was the chant inviting all of us to send our energy of compassion to ourselves, to others we knew, and then to the world. So Avalokita is the bodhisattva who listens to the cries of the world with compassion. We listen and sees the suffering. So let's have a little vacation of breathing, and then we'll move on to joy. Because love has joy. We've talked about maybe some other aspects, but now we're getting to joy in love. Do you feel rested and refreshed after your vacation at Plum Village? Yes. After breathing in and out? Yes. Okay. Joy. So, Thai has said, for it to be true love, we should have joy together. If we make each other suffer, something's wrong. Something's missing. Joy. So love needs joy. So again, it's our aspiration and our capacity to offer joy to others. It's the kind of joy we feel for another person's good luck or something wonderful that has happened to someone else. Even though we did not contribute to their happiness directly. Or someone wins the lottery, that's the common example, you know. Maybe you wanted to win the lottery too, but you didn't, but your neighbor won it, so you say, oh, I'm so happy for you. You won the lottery, or something wonderful like that. It's a kind of joy where we don't feel jealous, we don't have envy, we don't covet what this person has. It's a sympathetic joy. Example, parents can feel joy when their child has been accepted at the university or gets a promotion or has a new job or gets married or has children. Even though some of these wonderful things may involve children leaving home, living somewhere far away, still the parent can feel joy for their child. Or if one of their children wants to become a monastic, oy vey, no grandchildren from this child. But the parent could still feel joy for their child. Much easier if you have other children, then you'll have grandchildren. But it's human. So the meditation on love says, may you learn to identify and touch the seeds of joy in yourself, and may you learn how to nourish the seeds of joy in yourself each day. So this is the meditation on love from Buddhaghosa that Thai rewrote, and it's on the board, on a paper. So we support people on their path. Your joy is my joy. My joy is your joy. It's really interbeing in a very happy, wonderful way. And we can say to someone we love, whatever illumines your path, I will consider as my friend. Okay? There are no enemies, no barriers in the heart. There is only wishing you well. Okay? So we're practicing wishing, kindness, compassion, and now joy. This is how we're loving, sending them joy. We'd like to offer you a little song now that was composed by Sister Nghiem, who is the abbess at the Blue Cliff Monastery in Upper State New York, USA. And it's a song about joy. And I hope you like it. This is our friend Rachel from England, and here's Aurélie from France and Julie from France. And we had only one rehearsal, so microphone, one over there. I'm with you, back here.
Not getting out of it.
It's okay, no squeezing, it's all right, space.
Whatever illumines your path, I will consider as my friend. There are no enemies, no barriers in the heart. Your joy is my joy is your joy is my joy for sure. This is a song in my heart, sing along, sing along. This is a song in my heart, sing along. Whatever illumines your path, I will consider as my friend. There are no enemies, no barriers at all. There is only wishing you well. Your joy is my joy is your joy is my joy for sure. This is a song in my heart, sing along, sing along. This is a song in my heart, sing along. Thank you, everyone. This is joy. So love has joy. Thank you, friends from New Hamlet. Let's enjoy another vacation of breathing before we share the last aspect of love called equanimity. So friends, this aspect of love contains balance, contains stability. It also is a love that is very inclusive. Thai has said this kind of love includes everyone. There's no prejudice, discrimination. It's like a universal love. And Thai has given us the example that the Buddha used. It's a love that is possible when we have a heart that is very open. Our heart is large to embrace everyone. The example the Buddha gave is if you take a handful of salt and put it in a cup of water, the water will become very, very salty, too salty to drink. However, if you take the same handful of salt and you put it in the big river, the salt will not make the river too salty. You understand? So it's like having a very large heart, and a little bit of someone's suffering doesn't take away your love and kindness. If your heart is as small as a peanut, Thai would use the word peanut. If my heart is small, is a little peanut, then someone's unkind words or unskillfulness, whatever, it derails me. I can't handle it. It upsets me. So it depends on the capacity of our heart, So with this kind of love, we want to increase our capacity to accept, to understand. And Thai has said that love is understanding. When we love someone, it's made possible because we understand them. We don't blame or judge, we understand. So understanding is necessary for love. And compassion comes from understanding. Understanding is the foundation for love. So, we want to, just think about how can I love? How can I become more patient, more tolerant, more understanding, so that I will be able to include more people. And we're all being called to develop this quality of love now, I think, in the world, with many situations. So, the wish is, may you live with freshness, solidity, and freedom, and have the mind which is capable of not taking sides, but you remain capable of understanding both sides and perhaps being the mediator to bring both sides together. Yeah, your capacity to understand two people without favoring one over the other may help improve a marriage or improve teenagers relating to one another. So it's this balance, seeing both sides and helping, if you can, by being a bridge, a neutral element in other people's difficulties. I believe marriage counselors, psychologists, therapists, this is your training, in a sense, your talent, your capacity to have equanimity, balance, and stability, free from discrimination, prejudice, and aversion. Yeah. So they all are all of these four aspects of love, the mind of immeasurable love, they all contain one another. Okay, you can think about that more. With these aspects of love, we can create harmony in our family and joy in the family. When there's harmony in the family, we can offer this and offer joy to the world as well, and to the society we are in, harmony and joy. I'm getting very close to ending. Before that, I'd like to introduce you to some books of Thai, because you don't have to buy anything, but if you're curious, people sometimes say, okay, what books might be interesting to me? Okay, so Thai has written a book called Teachings on Love. It's a whole book about the four kinds of love and more. It's a wonderful book, really is. Published by Parallax Press. So, recommended. And the Meditation on Love, which is printed on the board, as I've mentioned 3 or 4 times, is in this book with a lot of good commentary. Another book is Love Letter to the Earth. Thai has written a calligraphy saying, I'm in love with Mother Earth. So you read about this love story. Thai's appreciation and deep connection to Mother Earth, with his deep insight into what's really happening, and it will open our hearts to understand more about Mother Earth and understand ourselves. We are children of Mother Earth. And if you want to know more about what's happening, this book is called The World We Have, a Buddhist approach to peace and ecology. So it's very informative, and it will water our seeds of love, compassion, a joy, and we can do something in equanimity. All 3 books are very interesting if you wish to explore further the topic of love. You know, when we leave Plum Village, tomorrow may be a departure day for some of you, we ask, how can I bring the practice home? Good question. But the good news is you don't have to bring anything home. Bring yourself home, because the practice is in you. Have confidence. For a whole week or 2 weeks, we've been breathing, we've been stopping, breathing, eating mindfully, tasting the food, sitting, relaxing. It's there in you. The seeds have been planted. You've watered them for a whole week. So, bring yourself home. Be at home. Do the things you enjoy doing here with mindfulness. The task of your family service, wash the dishes, sweep the floor, cut the vegetables, make tea, clean the toilet. Whatever you've done here, it's with you. The neural pathways have been opened, and just continue to do them in a way that's comfortable and relaxing. You know, we have a little child in us. We've learned that we have a wounded child, but there's also the possibility that our child at one point had happiness, had moments of happiness and joy, even if we had a lot of adverse childhood experiences for many years. There is a child in us that was born with all these seeds of joy and peace and happiness. So we want to honor and water the happy child in us. Of course, we'll take care of the suffering child. We'll be with him and her. We won't reject. We'll spend time. We'll have compassion. We'll give the wounded child time to heal with our love. And we can still remember that our wounded child can heal and be a happy child. So we'll honor the children of the world and the little child in us that can be happy. This child has light in her eyes, his eyes. You see the light in the children's eyes. This child can see far into the distance and see the beauty of the birds flying. Yes, a child sees so much. A child can see a special bluebird flying in the distance above the earth and seeing how beautiful is this earth. The child in us can see boats dancing on the ocean, on the waves of the sea. The child in us can see these boats full of the joy of living, full of love, moving happily with the wind. How wonderful that a child in us can see all that. This child in us can hear the beautiful song born from the waves that the boat is sailing on. And these waves, even if they disappear into the shore, the white, pure sand, still there is happiness. So, dear friends, before concluding, we'd like to offer you another song that our French sister, Sister Aqua, which means the moon of harmonious awakening, harmonious enlightenment. We will sing you a song. I have just spoken of the meaning of the song. It's a French song. I've just given you the words, more or less in English, a little bit embellished. But yeah, it's a song that we'll end the Dharma talk with. And we wish all of you a very happy continuation, whether you stay one more week or you go somewhere else. To wish you that you may continue to live in the land of love that has no boundaries, no limitations. We practiced once. We had one rehearsal, so. Okay. Take the microphone. So our friends may have heard the song before, and please feel free to sing it with us if you wish. So we're honoring the child now.
Comme un enfant aux yeux de lumière qui voit passer au loin les oiseaux, un oiseau bleu survolant la terre, voit comme le monde est beau. Beau le bateau dansant sur les vagues, ivre de vie, d'amour et de vent. Belle la chanson naissante des vagues, s'abandonnant au sable blanc. L'amour, c'est toi. L'amour, c'est moi. L'enfant, c'est toi. L'oiseau, c'est moi. Vois la misère, les hommes et la guerre qui croient tenir les rênes du temps. Pays d'amour n'a pas de frontières pour ceux qui ont un cœur d'enfant. L'amour, c'est toi. L'amour,